getting them to participate in breaking the law against me, they can't help me. So there was the Barton name, and I wanted to tie it into the state trooper that took me to Affordable Corporate Suites. From he and his wife Linda were hosts up at the where I was camped. I just put that on the other tape. So they brought me down because somebody put fuel in the night all on my tent, and I had to stay out all night at the picnic table. They brought me down to Affordable Corporate Suites on Starkey Road. Now then, his is the last name of Frida Barton I just told you about, and they're related. Now then, I have this from Jean Croft. Let me remind you, they all get in on this. She is manager here at Affordable, where they took me. And I've stayed at his other places, and the same thing happens. I've always paid my rent, everything. They've committed the crime against me. On back to the state trooper, his wife brought me down and paid $150 deposit, and she kind of insisted on me going there. I had some money on me and could have made it till I got more, but she took me there, and it's off Starkey Road. She paid the security deposit, $150 with a credit card, and from then on I paid every penny, and I was gassed and sick and assaulted with fumes is not even, you can't imagine. When people, like, it looks good if you don't see what's going on inside, you get maid service once a week. I didn't want it because they were soaking my linens. I couldn't go to the grocery store or go for a long walk or try to put a lock on the door because it didn't matter. They'd come right in. And do you know something? Everywhere I've lived, they've known this. The guests, the management's been in on it, and maintenance. So here's where Jean Croft, but she's kept her job too, all over these years, and probably retired at the moment, I don't know. But here on February the 17th, 2011, and the state trooper took me there August the 14th, '09. Since Peggy, that's not even my real name. Can you get the, how would you like to be? Oh my God, has been here since August of '09. She has always paid her rent on time. If you have any further questions, call her. So this is, well, in essence, I left. I have that letter somewhere. I left because they upped the rent. I don't have that letter, oddly enough, right at the moment, but they upped the rent on me. I don't see it. I had it. Oh, where'd it go? Well, I don't see it right now, but they upped the rent from $888 a month to $1,000 and something a month, so I couldn't stay. And I had a letter from her on that. So I stuck through the chemicals, and I want to say this: Barton's wife, the retired state trooper's wife, Linda, which this all makes me look like this flaky woman everybody's helping when you don't see the truth at all. I tried to hug her just to say thank you before she left after paying the security deposit. And let me backtrack. I was up at Roanoke Mountain National Park paying my rent up there for the campsite. And during the night, fuel was poured all over my tent, which she looked like they were doing me a favor. She brought me down to Affordable and paid the deposit. And before she left, I use other people like they're credible. They're doing this to me, and I'm made to look like I'm not a credible person. She said to me before she left, and by the way, when I tried to hug her, she pushed me away, like she's not my friend, and it kind of shocked me. And I've done nothing to these people. She said to me, "This is how we run you, using chemicals." So I know they've used chemicals. It was kind of shocking she said it, but then it's my word against hers. And the law's not going to do anything. They're helping do it to me. So I stayed there for 17 months, I believe. I moved on in 11, March the 3rd of 11, because they upped the rent. I was so sick when I left, and I'm left stranded. And if I've gotten any money, which I didn't, it took every penny, but I'm going to the woods because I don't have money to go somewhere else, and cabs and all this, and it's gone in a heartbeat. So I showed the connection with the Bartons from one to the other, and now then, I want to do this first. This is in, well, I rented it in '08. It was after I left Richfield in the spring and ended up at Ron Sizer's. And it was on Valley Drive Road in Troutville, which is near the, well, it's across from the Appalachian Trail and near where I used to camp a lot. I camped all over there. I did the trail, and I've done 15 to 18 miles a day in the hot sun and the freezing and starving and everything. And that's not easy to do. I used to know every crack and tree limb on the trail or rock. But anyway, this is back to Ron Sizer's. It was an ad in the paper, the Fincastle, and it was stuck in my post office box, by the way, which is unusual. So someone took me out there to look at it, and it was really nice. He owns this big spread out there. It looks like you're out on a farm or something. The trees and rolling hills, and there's nobody nearby to bother you except him and his wife and daughter. They have the big home in front, and this is, they call it a cottage or a guest house out back, and his mother, he'd built it for his mother, and she had died like 7 years prior to when I moved in '08, November the 22nd of '08. When I was taken out there, and I have to get somebody to take me, and afraid I'm going to run out of money and all this, took me out there, and he was going to rent it to me. A year's lease was required. So I paid him a deposit, $400, and prorated it to move in on November the 22nd, which I did. But when I got out there, supposedly he didn't have the lease ready when I paid him, prorated and paid him the deposit and everything. When I got back out, he had decided that he was just going to rent it monthly, so he said. I don't have any rights if I can make people understand that and they care. I can't go to an attorney. I can't go to the law. I even had a Patel who has become quite wealthy here in the Roanoke and Charlotte, North Carolina area. They own a lot. They own all the motels just about around here. Back in '95, it might have been, or '94, I'm not sure. I had saved up. I'd done a live-in. I couldn't get jobs except a few live-ins. I'd saved money. I moved into one of his motels, but it had a kind of like a suite to it. It was the only room I think in that whole place like that, but it was really nice. It had exposed beams. It had a balcony, and I paid for the month. Well, I had just paid it. I didn't get to live there, really. And he knocked at my door, and I had told him, and this is in November, and it's cold up here, so you shouldn't even be painting that time of the year. He knocked at the door, and this is deliberate, and he told me he was going to, for me to get ready for it, he was going to start painting. And I told him, I said, I told you I'm allergic to chemicals. And he said, well, that's not his problem. So I called the cop. He came out, and I don't remember if he actually I want you to know that I didn't commit any crime. I'm calling for him to protect me, the cop. I think he actually did put the handcuffs on me and took them off, and he said, if you don't leave, I'll lock you up. And when he left, and this is in front of the Patel, the office manager, the owner, that's going to paint now, that's taken my money for the month and going to paint. I'd been there just a few days. And what he said to me, he said,